morning to YouTube. It's your butter voice host, HefTV, coming at you again. Joined by me today is my illustrious co-host, JJ, the wonderful, beautiful, and funny, and don't piss her off, Mama Marty.
Hi, guys.
We will have a guest, Groovy Lava Squirrel Medic, also known as Travis. He will be appearing shortly. But the person I'm most excited to have here, besides usuals, is my boy, Mr. Rick McCallum, right over there.
Over this way.
Yeah, I was going to say, you just pointed
I'm
at.
over here.
You're right there. You're right
The
there.
other way. On my screen, I'm over here.
Oh, are you? Well, then, my buddy,
Yeah,
there he
there
is. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
okay.
on my side, you're right over here.
Weird. All right.
Dear God, you guys are not the cameraman for his movie.
Off to a great start.
Somewhat. I think we fill in when need be.
But Rick, always good to have you, buddy. Thank you so much for showing up, man. You're always a ton of fun to have on. I love all your stories. I feel that I get spoiled a lot because anytime I want a Rick story, I can just call you, and you'll be like, "Who's this?" And then I'll give you like some fake name, and you'll start telling me stories, which is pretty good. That's the relationship we have.
Generally, what I just say is, "What the hell do you want now?"
Yeah, that's good. Yes, that is another. Yeah, it's like I don't know. But thank you for coming on. Tom, thank you for showing up. That's okay. I know you guys aren't feeling too well. What's up, Jimbo? What's up, Chantel? We got Groovy in the chat and on screen, so that's awesome.
I'm in both too.
JJ's
so are you technically?
Yes, yes, that's true. So yeah, Rick, you got, like I was just saying, you got stories on stories for days, but do you have any particular ones? Well, first, would you like to talk about your film career? Would you like to speak about your ghost hunting and those things, or your? You want to talk about ghost hunting first?
I mean, I've been retired from the movie business for like 8 years.
Yeah, I know, but you got great stories. So okay,
because I'm like really old and stuff.
Well, okay. So do you?
Soon to be a ghost myself. So
stop! You're gonna outlive all of us.
Trying to make friends.
Is or your book, or do you want to do a combo of the ghost hunting and the book? There's several books that you have now.
Yeah, another one's coming. No, I'd like to talk about the ghost hunting because there was some amazing stuff happened last time we went to Scotland, and I mean, drop your jaw, like, huh?
Yes, please.
I'll tell you the first one. When we went to Scotland, I had a really good group with me. I called it Rick McCallum's invitational trip to Scotland because I only took my friends. There was Kat Hobson, Laurie Dorsey, Mikey Thompson, Julie Sheila. I mean, we had really good ghost hunters and really good people too. But I think I might have told you the last time I was on, but I'm not sure. And by the way, Travis looks like he stopped at hair and makeup since he went outside. What's going on here?
Yeah. No, he's just naturally handsome.
I know.
I mean, I felt a little flutter when I saw him.
I know. That's how we feel. I can't wait to meet him in person.
I had a friend that was the laird of Balgony Castle. For some reason, he took an instant liking to me the first time I went there. I mean, unbelievable. We were really good friends. Well, he passed away last year, and when we went to, they were doing a thing. The Americans ghost hunted Balgony Castle, so there was a bunch of other groups, and they put me down, my group, down in a place called the museum, which I had never investigated, and it's only not much bigger than my bedroom. And then there's attached to it was the woodworking place for the laird, who was a fantastic tradesman and everything. But we put up everything in the world ghost hunting. We had REM pods, we had K2 meters, anything, MEL meters, anything that could light up or show, that something was there. They had cat balls sitting up on stuff, right?
That's my favorite one, actually.
Well, by the way, one thing, anybody tries to put a cat ball on the ground near me, I'm going to kill them. Because you step on one of them sons of bitches in the dark and you got a bad knee, you're going to the hospital.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
They're dark. You're in the dark.
Yeah.
They're little round balls. It's stupid to put them on the ground. I don't care if they're up on top of stuff because I'm not going to go walking around up there.
At least they don't have like ghost hunting marbles, because that would be, I feel, even worse. You just scatter them about. It's like a cartoon. You're like, bagada.
My bagada days are over. I go.
It's just down.
But anyway, we go into this place, and I'm sitting. Lori's here, Kat's here, Mikey's filming, and then there's the guests. And I said, I introduced everybody who we were, and then I said, "Is there any spirits here who want to talk to us?" And I swear we have it on film. Every piece of equipment went off full strength at once. Boom! It looked like a damn bomb went off. Kat always says she turned around and looked, and it looked like lightning was going up the rod on the REM pod. She goes, it looked like fireworks. She goes, none of us had ever seen anything like that. I mean, the explosion of that. I looked down at my K2, and it was on all 5 lights, and it was locked. I looked over at Lori had a K2, all 5 lights, and it was locked. That's how much energy hit this room.
That is awesome.
So we started talking. I said, wow, what is this? And everybody's looking at me like, Rick, come on, man. You can figure this out. And then finally I looked over and went, holy crap, it's the Laird, right? And they're all like, boy, it took you a while to catch on, didn't it? But I have never had anything happen like that. It was amazing. I mean, just everything went off at the same time, all the way as high as you could go.
That's awesome.
And that's because I remember the last time you were on, you kind of told the prelude story to this, where you met the Laird for the first time and you guys like hit it off swimmingly. I mean, there was a more in-depth story there.
Well, I can tell you real quick. When I first met him, they were all setting everything up at the place for a ghost hunt. And I introduced myself to him. We started talking, and he's fascinating. And I was asking him this and that and the other thing. And for some reason, we just really like friends from 100 years ago. I mean, we were just like that. And he looks at me, and I had fallen in the forest about 3 days earlier and just totally ruined my leg, right? And I'm limping everywhere. And he looks at me and he goes, you think you can go up 3 flights of stairs with that leg? I said, you got a handrail? He goes, yeah. I said, yeah, I can. He goes, come on, I'm going to take you to my personal place, up on the top, his personal room. So we started going up, and 2 of the guys that were walking from Scottish Paranormal, who are the people that are always, the ones that mostly there, and I'm actually a member of their group now. And I'm also in their Hall of Fame, and I'm only bragging about that because I'm not in any other Hall of Fame.
Awesome.
I better get that in,
That's awesome.
Right?
Hell yeah.
But we get up there, and as we're walking up these things, I think it was Gregor, one of the founders of Scottish Paranormal, says, you've been here for years. He's never taken us up there. Right? And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So we get up there, and it's exactly like a Scottish Laird's room should be. It's huge. It's got red leather couches and seats. It's got a gigantic stone fireplace, right?
That's cool.
And then like all these library stuff, books. But the thing that was so fascinating is every time the castle turns over, there's a new Laird, right? Somebody, that's a new Laird. Well, he was a very famous tradesman. He was for leather working. He carved all 47 of his doors in the castle. But I mean, it was just amazing. But what he finally did too is he got things that were like 2 foot by 2 foot, and painted all of the former Lairds and put them in the ceiling. There were 31 of them as they went along.
Oh, that's cool.
Their whole coat of arms and stuff. I was like, wow. But he told me something when I was leaving. This is, I think, what you were getting at. He goes, Rick, come here. And I said, yeah. He goes, can you keep a secret? And I said, yeah. And he tells me this secret. Now, I can tell you because he's now passed away. And he said, you seem like you're real interested in the Knights Templar. I said, oh, I'm obsessed with the Knights Templar. And there's all this Knights Templar stuff around. Swords, the long spears, everywhere. Flags. And he looks like this. He goes, did you know that the Knights Templar, I'll probably get the number wrong, 247 living Knights Templar in the United States?
What?
And it's like, that was what I said. What? And he goes, yeah. And being the nice, polite guy, I said, how would you know that? Right? And he looked at me and he smiled. He goes, because I'm in charge of them.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Holy crap. So after I went back, and he'd before he passed away, and this was the time I knew I wasn't going to see him again because he was still in like a hospital bed in his castle. And we're all sitting there, and he goes, Rick, come here. I leaned over, I said, yeah. And he goes, did you tell anybody my secret? And I said, no. He says, because I got another secret to tell you. I said, what's that? He goes, the Knights Templar are worldwide. I said, really? And he goes, and I'm in charge of all of them.
Wow.
And I'm like, holy crap, I'm talking to the Grand Master of the Knights Templar.
That's
What
insane.
the hell? So, I mean, it was amazing. The fact that I don't know why, because we just bonded so instantly that he would tell me these secrets. You know?
Well, and again, that's why I thought it was important to kind of like have, and again, for anybody that didn't catch the last show where he kind of filled everybody in on that story, the connection that you guys had was what made everything light up like the 4th of July, you know, when you went back and stuff is, you know, because he clearly liked you.
Oh, yeah. Know. Well, you know, he went into the hospital and I had an online magazine at the time. So I wrote a big article about Balgony Castle and the Laird. I didn't include anything about the Knights Templar. But anyway, we went back to his room. This is while he was still walking around and stuff. And had this big, long table. And we were sitting there. And while he's talking, I looked down, and Gregor had printed out the article that I wrote about him.
That's awesome.
And he's talking, and I look, and it's sitting right next to his hand. He goes, thank you for doing that. I was like, you're welcome. But
that's cool.
We all figured out. I mean, Kat was telling me, everybody says, you do realize what just happened. I said, kind of. They said, Laird said goodbye to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going back there in June, and it'll be interesting to see if he says something. I think prefer that he didn't.
Really?
Yeah, because that would mean that he's, you know, where he's supposed to be.
Right.
You know.
What if he just enjoys your company as much as we do? You can't fault the guy for that.
I don't fault him. I just want him to rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
But if he shows up, hey, I'll hang out.
That's awesome.
And
That's
you know what?
what an honor.
I still didn't say anything on any of the shows about the Knights Templar until when he passed away. They kind of slid over the top of it, but they put enough innuendo in there for you to know that he was the dude from the Knights Templar. So
I remember when I spoke to you on the phone, probably just set up, or either set up another show or shoot the shit or a combination of the two. And you told me that story, and I'll never forget. I was sitting out back in one of my Adirondack chairs back there.
Yeah.
I had chain smoked probably like 4 cigarettes while I'm listening to this story. And I'm like, this is great. I can't believe, like, you have got the greatest. And again, what an incredible honor to be, you know, put in those situations and have that opportunity and opportunities to, you know, to do these awesome things and have that kind of response from somebody that, you know, like you said, with the other people that they never been let up there before, and here comes Rick, and all of a sudden he's, you know, best buddies and stuff. I think that
the Scottish
awesome.
Paranormal too guys are as nice a guys as you can be, and they were all friends.
Sure.
They were all friends, but it's just, I don't know. I kind of think we were linked somehow in the past.
You just vibe with somebody,
sense.
You know what I mean? Like you get that feeling where you're like super comfortable around somebody. You're just like, oh man, like I know I just mentioned this is weird, but we could be pals. You know what I mean? And then you go and do that.
Well, I got to tell you something weird, and it's not trying to build myself up. It's just things that people have said.
Yes,
to
it
me.
is. Don't lie. This is great. Do it.
Hey, if my life hasn't built me up enough, I'm done.
I'm saying, man, that's why I love having you on, bro.
Yeah.
You go ahead. You flex, baby. You earned it.
But this one girl, Lori Dorsey, if you're listening, Lori,
Yes.
she always tells me, she goes, man, you just vibrate on a different level. And she had an SLS camera, and we were in Airth Castle, and I'm sitting in one of the leather chairs, and everybody's around there, and she's going like this, and she stops across from me, and she's just standing there. And finally I said, Lori, what are you doing? She goes, I can't read you on the SLS. I'm getting everybody else, but I can't get you. Right? So she goes, man, she says, you just vibrate on a different level. But then what was the other thing that happened that was so cool? Oh, I went to help a girl. She was having some problems. And I went down, not personal problems, spirit problems. And I went down to her place, and she came out to get me in the parking lot. And we went back in, and we did. I was actually. It seemed that there was something there that was really not very nice, and managed to get rid of it, because she would call me all the time and say, "Hey, thank you so much." But she called me a couple days after that. She goes, "I don't know how to tell you this." And I said, "Yeah, just shoot." She goes, "When I came out to get you, you see me going on the Ring doorbell?" She goes, "And when you left, I walked you out to your car. You're not in either one of the pictures."
Well,
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's weird. And I'll tell you one other thing, just because it's kind of fun. When I was in Scotland, I was walking back down to my hotel. Now, they've got little restaurants and stuff on the side. And then there's one big, long street, not street, it's a cobblestone place, almost an alley that goes this way. And then there's a bar, and I go around the corner to my hotel. And I'm walking along, and all these girls are like leaning down and going, "Oh," with high voice, not girl voice, like they're talking to a baby or something. And all of a sudden, this fox walks around from the corner, and he's limping. You can tell his left front foot is hurt, and he's on the opposite side of the street. And all the girls are trying to get him to come, and he just flat out ignored them, right? So he comes around the corner, and I went, "Hi." Boom, 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 comes up and steps right about that far from my front foot. And I'm looking down, I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And I wanted to pick him up, but I figured if he's actually hurt and I picked him up, he might bite me.
right.
Yeah.
Right?
Fair enough.
So I had my hallmark moment with that
Mhm.
fox. I wish I could have had him, because finally I said, "Well, I got to go." And he's like right there, and he's just looking at me like he loves me. And I'm like, this is so cool, right? So I just said, "All right, I got to go." And I just start to walk away. And my hallmark moment, the fox started walking the other way. And I stopped, and I turned around to look. And as I was looking at the fox stopped and turned around and looked.
Aw.
I was waiting for harp music and violin. That was so cool. Even the ladies just said, "What were you doing in there?" I said, "Just making a new friend."
Yeah, that's awesome.
But they were kind of weird, because they were all trying to get him to come over there, and he just walked across the street to come say hi to me.
That's awesome.
Cool fox.
It's bizarre. All right, I got another story for you.
Yes.
We went to Inverness Cemetery, and I've got bad knees. I need a knee replacement. And we've been walking 9 miles.
Wow.
My leg was kind of sort of sore.
I can imagine.
So we're walking through there, and I've got my K2 out. It has not had a blip for 2 hours, right? And finally, I'm walking around looking for a chair so I can sit down. Well, they're not real big on having chairs in Scottish cemeteries. So I'm looking around and said, maybe there's a bench. No bench, and my knee's starting to wobble. And I looked down, and this one tombstone was set like 2 legs and a flat top, looked like a bench, right? So I just leaned over and I said, "Look, I mean you no disrespect at all, but I have to sit down or I'm going to fall right on top of you," right? So I sat down, and there was a girl with me, and the instant I touched the tombstone, my K2 went all 5 lights, right?
Oh, wow.
And I went, "Are you mad that I sat on your tomb?" Boom, 5 lights again. I mean, everything was, every answer was instantaneous. It wasn't like, flutter. I mean, boom, boom. And I said, "Look, my leg is real sore." I said, I just need like 30 seconds just to let it relax for a second. And it goes 2 and 3, just twinkling back and forth. So I sit there, and then the girl's talking to me, and the light goes, all 5 lights. I said, "Are you telling me to get up?" And it goes, boom, 5 lights again. I said, "Tell you what, you do it again, I'll get up." Boom, instantly. And the girl goes, "What are we doing?" I said, "I'm getting up."
I'm getting up, yeah.
So
I don't want to overstay my
I told
welcome.
Kat Hobson, I said, "Kat, I'm thinking about quitting ghost hunting." And she goes, "You'll never quit ghost hunting." I said, "How in the world am I going to top the last 2 days?"
True.
That's facts.
So that was soon to be in book number 3.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is going to be titled, because that's one of the things I love about your books is they have the greatest titles.
Well, I'm kind of thinking this one might be my guardian angel just called for backup.
I love it. I love
I
it.
like that.
Yeah, that's what's I mean, outside of Scotland, where else do you like to? Where else are some of your favorite places to go hunting at?
Well, I've been to England, which had a place called Bolton Abbey, which was stupidly haunted. One guy actually got knocked out. He was laying on the ground. One guy jumped over this fence because they were up in the church where they're not supposed to be. They had a picket fence around it. They're all standing in a line. And all of a sudden, the last guy, me and two other guys were walking around, and we had just looked over there. We started to go around the corner, and we heard everybody screaming. And we come back, and there's Brian laying flat on his back. He's totally out. So the two guys that were with me were bouncers in Liverpool, right?
Oh shit!
I said, "Hey man, jump over the fence and go get him and bring him over here." So the guy just hops the fence, runs over, picks up Brian, and I was a lifeguard for 4 years, so I know a lot of stuff you should do to somebody that's out. So he comes over, and I said, "Toss him over." So he goes, whoop, and he just throws him. So me and the other guy catch him, and we take him back, and I set him on a chair, and the 320-pound guy is leaning on him so he won't fall over. And it's kind of cool out, and I'm looking at him. He's got his coat open, and I'm watching him, and all of a sudden he starts getting the micro tremors, which means one of two things. Either he's really cold or he's actually going into shock, right?
Okay.
So I grabbed him, and I told him, I said, get something we can, lift his feet up on. And the one girl, Mandy Fellows from Anubis Paranormal, real good group, grabbed their two equipment cases. We put his feet up, right? And I took my coat off and put it on him, right? And I'm saying it's cold out, right? And I'm standing there. I was so proud of these guys because they all started taking their coats off and just covering him up. And I was rubbing his arms and trying to get him some stuff. So finally, he woke up. But there's another story to it, which is really, really good. Mandy, who is, like I said, the head of Anubis, and another girl that I knew, can't think of her name right now. We're walking along, and there's a story that there's a spirit that won't let you leave if it wants you to stay, right? So we start to walk towards the gate, and Mandy had on this thing from the Vatican, this necklace, and I'm at the end, and all of a sudden the necklace goes yank, right? And actually gave her a little burn mark on her neck. And I saw it come back, and I was like, whoa.
That
right?
just happened.
Yeah. And the other girl had been a soldier. So, I mean, we're not talking about anybody that's not up for the fight, right? So she goes, what should I do? She goes, there's something holding me back. I said, just muscle through it. Just, it can't hold you back. You're a human. It's go, right? So she pops out the other side. And the second girl starts to walk up. She goes, oh, God, it doesn't want me to leave, right? I said, you can do it. So she pops out the other side. I walk up there, and it's just nothing. I was like, yeah, they're probably saying, get out. Keep going. But this was the weird part. That was pretty weird right there. The necklace getting yanked and everything else. But we go back, and we get Brian awake, and he stands up, and he's staggering. So me and one of the bouncers get him under the arms, and we're walking him to the 4x4 to put him in there so he can go down and get warmed up, right? So we put him in there because they had food and stuff down at this other spot. So we're walking with him, and I'm thinking to myself, we're coming up that spot where he's not supposed to go through because it's obviously hit him.
Yeah.
And he's got his. You ever see somebody getting dragged while they're walking? They got their head down, and you're just pulling them along. He couldn't see where he was, and I'm just watching to see if he's going to react when we get near the gate. And he probably got like 5 yards from the gate, and his head popped up, and he went and tried to shove his way back. Unfortunately, he had like 500 pounds of guys.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and we just picked him up. We opened up the back of the SUV, and he starts to say, I don't want to go. And me and the other guy, we picked him up. We just threw him head first into the thing and slammed the door. Said, get him down to the other end. So, that was validated a lot of stuff about the story because he didn't see the fence even coming. And all of a sudden, he came back to life and fighting us and everything else.
Jesus.
That's crazy.
So,
Yeah, you've definitely seen a lot of stuff.
Well, the other one that was really good in a different place was in Ireland. And for all those people who have an extra $23.50 out there, or come join us because we're going to go to this place, the Hellfire Club. All right. Now, the name of the tour is Secret Ireland Tours. If you're interested, just find it on pretty much anywhere, Facebook, everything else. Or you can just hit me up and I'll let you know.
I'll give you his home phone number.
No, not that.
Oh, sorry. My bad. I'm sorry.
Thanks, Hefty.
Yes, no problem. I should probably delete that text now. Then,
like that.
I probably just missed out on my soulmate, but we were on, me and Scottish Paranormal were on a day ghost trip to Dublin in Ireland, and what a day because we stayed overnight in Lep Castle, but we went up to the Hellfire Club, and I walked in and they had a Frank's box. And there were two guests. They weren't members of Scottish Paranormal, but they ghost hunted with them every once in a while. And they were talking to the Frank's box. And they weren't getting anything at all. So I walked over. I said, "Do you mind if I try?" And they said, "No, go ahead." So I said, "Hi, my name is Rick. I'm from America. And I'm here to talk to my relative who is a member, John Wilkes. He was a member of the Hellfire Club." I think that's one of the reasons they invited me. Actually, can't be my sparkling personality. It had to have something.
Oh, I'm sure.
But anyway, they and then I said, "Yeah, I just wanted to say hello because you're my relative." And then it goes, "Relative?" And they go, "Right?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm your relative from America. My name's Rick." Right? And another 10 seconds go by and he goes, "Hi, Rick."
Oh,
Now they're
That's
like,
awesome.
now they're like,
shit,
"Hey."
crazy.
I swear to God, this is what happened. It's in my first book.
Called pin through your books.
Yeah, the first book. As a matter of fact, the picture right there is looking out the door there, door frame at Hellfire.
And where can we
that's
get those
cool.
books at, Rick?
Amazon.
mhm.
And as a matter of fact, just so people know that I'm not just trying to hawk a book, I give the money I get from the books to St. Jude's Hospital.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
But anyway,
Travis.
I said, "Okay, let me ask you this." I said, "This will tell me if you're really my relative that I'm talking to." I said, "Did you really dress a baboon up like Satan and turn him loose into the club?" And it goes a couple words, and then it goes, "Baboon." And now the people are just pooping in their pants. Right? And then it went away. It didn't get anything else. And I looked over. I said, "Man, this is going to be the most awesome piece of recording ever." And they go, "Oh, we're not recording."
Oh, no.
So if you go out back, there's two more graves. But I mean, it was amazing.
Recording.
It was amazing. I get so much stuff that other people don't, that they think I'm full of crap and I'm making it up. But the people that are with me go, "Man, it's true. That stuff really does happen to you." I said, "It does."
So they probably feel comfortable around you.
Well, you know what's funny? We always used to go to the LAPD museum, and I was kind of the guy that led the hunts.
Mhm.
And Jay Bloomke, the guy that was real influential in starting Ghost Hunters, he set it up, and it was for Dark Zone TV. And so they would film a lot of this stuff. But that place was, that place really, it grew. You guys ghost hunt, right?
Mhm.
Have you ever got a place that just got better and better and better? And I got to be friends with one of the ghosts. Walter's name was.
Oh, there you go.
He was the first policeman killed. Boy, I hope Groovy's dad is a really cool dude. But anyway, he was the first motorcycle cop that was killed in action. But they had a little shrine to him downstairs. And what was funny is I was on this thing the third day of this big thing that Dark Zone was doing. And they were down running over the recap of what happened the first 2 days. So they had me sit upstairs, right? And I'm sitting right at the front entrance. There's nobody else around. And there's this big, like two big glass doors right in front of me. And I'm sitting there and I hear heavy boots coming down the hallway to my left. And they go boom, 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 boom. Hear it going in there. Nobody went by me. So I get up and I zoom around the corner and I look down there and there's nobody there. And I'm like, holy crap. So when Jay came around, I said, Jay, I just had an experience before I ever went in ghost hunting. He said, what? And I told him about that. He goes, oh. Then he goes, Misha, come here. So Misha's the one who was running the place, right, the building. And he says, tell him what you said, right? And she says, yeah, I told him that every day I hear somebody with heavy boots on walk past my office.
Oh, wow.
So, and then she told me about Walter. So I said, let's go down and see if we can talk to Walter. So I started talking, and all of a sudden, all the lights started responding. He was paying attention. So whenever I get there, I just throw my K2 up and go, Walter, are you here? I actually have one thing that you guys would probably like. We had a big table, and I came down and put my K2 meter on. There was already 2 on the thing spread out, like every 4 feet. And the girl who was the psychic, she says, yeah, we've been getting stuff, and we got some voices came through. We think it's somebody named Arthur. I said, it's probably Walter, right? And she goes, really? And I just went, Walter, are you here? And all 3 K2s
Just
went off.
lit up.
And people were like, whoa. I said, yeah, it's Walter.
That's awesome.
Well, another weird thing happened there. We were there for the 25th anniversary of the North Hollywood shootout. And they were actually showing on Ghost Adventures the hunt they had at the LAPD museum. So before the show, we all watched that on there and found out something that I hadn't known about the place. They have a shooting range, or they used to. And the shooting range is only about 7 feet wide now. It's got a stack of boxes and stuff like that. But I got to tell you, it's one of the weirdest places, because on their show, he says, so we just read in here that a lady committed suicide. One of the policemen or one of the employees there committed suicide. She took a gun out of the locker and shot herself in the place. It said, and that showed the thing, and her name was Margaret. So right after I got Walter to say hi, I said, we just heard that there was a girl here that passed away inside the shooting range. Can you tell me your name? And he goes, Margaret. I was like,
well, there you go. They love you.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's really funny. It's hard to say that because everybody thinks you're full of crap and you're being self-aggrandizing, but ask anybody that goes with me and they'll tell you. I said, man, oh man. I've had so many people say, why do so many ghosts know your name? And I said, simple answer. And they said, yeah. I said, what did I do when I came in? He said, what? I said, hi, I'm looking for any of the spirits in here who might want to have contacts with me. My name is Rick.
Yep.
Right. A little while later goes, Rick. I'm like, what? I said, I always introduce myself.
Mm-hmm.
The weirdest one was a place called Torwood Castle in Scotland. I always have my camera out. Sometimes I just say shoot because it's got the voice control. And we got back, and Ryan O'Neill, he's on Haunted Scotland. He's the tech guy on Haunted Scotland. He's going through the audio, and it comes on and goes, shoot, Rick. Everybody goes laugh. They said, oh, you want you to take pictures? I said, well, you can look at that another way too, you know.
Yeah.
Shoot, Rick. No, wait, hold on.
Right.
You can knife me maybe, but you know, don't.
Yeah, don't shoot me.
Yeah, don't shoot me. Yeah.
Please not.
So, Rick, were
Yes,
you
sir.
always a believer? Were you a skeptic? Was there something that in your life that you experienced that made you a believer, or what was it that got you into? Because I'm new to this game, so I'm just wondering.
Well, when I was 13, my grandfather died in one of those gun cleaning accidents.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to be buried in Paducah, Kentucky. We lived in Chicago, me and my mom and my grandma. And we didn't have a lot of money, right? So we couldn't fly or anything else. So we got his casket on a train, and we went down by train. We got off, and the funeral home picked up the casket, and off they went. And strange occurrence. I always thought I was part Greek because, you know, and some Irish because my grandfather's name was Joe Kelly. Well, when we got the casket came in, we met this guy named George Volholius, who was Joe's brother. I said, why is your name, Volholius? He goes, that's our name. I said, well, why is his Kelly? And he said, well, when he came over on the boat, he was sponsored by the Kellys, and he just left it as his name. So here I am thinking that I'm Irish. And then I was asking myself, well, I guess I'm actually part Greek. And he goes, no. I said, that's not Greek. And he goes, no. He says, it's actually Spartan. I said, Spartan? He goes, Sparta was its own country. So people say, why are you so feisty? I said, well, I'm Scottish and Spartan. What the hell did you expect?
Yeah, what do you expect from me?
I'm surprised I don't fight with myself. So that was bizarre. But anyway, to answer your question, Travis, we didn't have time to make any plans, get a hotel or anything else. So me and my mom just started walking, and it was a pretty sketchy looking place because it was nighttime. Mm-hmm. And we're walking along, and if you ever seen a thing for a horror movie, we're walking down, we see a 2-story brownstone building with one of the big neon signs, and it's flickering. And I was like, oh, great. So we go inside, and my mother says, do you have any rooms? He goes, I've got one. And she goes, well, how much is it? Because like I said, we didn't have much money. And he says, low number. She goes, oh, we'll take it. He goes, well, I have to tell you, it's haunted. Now I'm 13 years old. I wasn't close to my grandfather. I'm like the kid with the golden ticket to Disneyland. I was, so we go upstairs, and if you can imagine a volleyball court sideways, that's what the room looked like. It was all wood, right? And on each side there was a rolling bed. This was not the Hilton. Right? So we get in because we're really tired.
Kids these days probably don't understand rolling beds. Us older folk absolutely do, but
they got little wheels on them. You can
They
hold it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Yep. It's.
I hear bow wows, but we go to bed. We're on, I'm way on one wall, she's on the other, and I hear a noise, about an hour later, and I wake up, and I look over, and my mother's bed is going across the floor, right towards me. So I sit up, and I'm like, holy cow! And then I realize that my bed is going towards her, and we smashed together in the middle of the room. Went boom, and we just sat there looking at each other, and then. Finally, my mother looks at me. She goes, I guess that guy downstairs is right. So after that, I as I like to say to people, well, I was hooked.
Yeah, that's fair. And that's sorry, go ahead.
After you, Travis.
So I don't know if I'm a skeptic or not. Like I've seen stuff, but I don't know if it's my mind playing tricks on me. And a lot of the stuff I watch, like on YouTube, I mean, there's people that do stuff for content that, like,
it's fake as shit.
Let's
just call it what it is.
I always have to be like, I have to have a personal experience for me, not something that I see on TV or on YouTube. But hopefully one day I'll get an answer. But is there ever anything that just like scared the living shit out of you and just be like, we gotta go, we can't, like, this is not what we should be doing right now?
No.
So
no, I've had a lot of really extreme things happen. The most extreme things that have ever happened has happened in this apartment. And the other place that really happened was in my dad's house in Texas, which I will say right now is the most haunted place I've ever been.
Texas, baby.
That's in one of my books. So
that's where Travis is.
Well, that's okay. I'm going to read it because your books will be here on Sunday. I already ordered them.
Are you? Oh, sweet. More money for St. Jude. Hey, are you in Fort Worth or Dallas or anywhere around there?
I'm in San Antonio. My sister lives in Dallas.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, because that house up there is.
Pardon me, boys.
I would tell you that I'm not going to say it over the air, but I would tell you if you lived around there, you could go over actually go look at it. But that place was freaky haunted.
Yeah, because I'm from right outside Fort Worth, Weatherford, Texas. That's where I grew up and where I lived. It's like 20 miles out of Fort Worth. But
I will tell you, my first day, in my dad's place, just to give you how away this went. Me and my friend had driven down from Chicago, and my dad had one of his salesmen was there, and it was his birthday, and they'd been at the bar drinking, and they'd come back home to drink at his house. Then he says, well, I'll drive Wally back to get his car. And I was like, really? See you, Wally. Right. But anyway, they take him, and my friend goes too. And I told him, I said, man, I drove the whole way, 1,200 miles. I was tired. So I said, where do I sleep? And he says, in this room. Now, it had a canopy bed, like a lady's bed. And when I sat down, and laid back, there was a light through the window right in front of me. And it was a small room, right? And I laid down, and I hear, right? That's your reaction. So I thought, might have been me. Might have been me exhaling. That's one of the things about ghost hunting. You got to take all the stuff it could have been and get rid of it. And when there's left with nothing, then you've got an experience. So I lay back down again, and it's louder. It goes, I'm like, all right, what is that? Right? So I thought, because when I first got there, I mean, my dad turned around and left right as soon as I got there. And I thought, does he have a dog? So I turn on the light, and I look under the bed to see if the dog's in there, and I open up the closet, which is right near me, nothing in there. So I close the door again. And I lay down, and I hear even louder. And I look up, and I see the air conditioning vent, right? I thought, oh, it's the air conditioner turn off. Then I went, it doesn't turn off 3 times in a row. So I sat up, and I'm looking out the window. I'm looking around in the light, and I swear, right here on my neck, right behind my ear and on my neck, this thing went real loud. Went,
Oh, shit.
where I could feel the heat on my neck. I jumped out of the bed, and my dad had a slider lock. I grabbed the thing and went snap and busted the whole frame right on that one side. And I was out front. I wasn't staying in there. I knew there was something that wasn't supposed to be in there, and it was me. Right? So I skedaddled. I got outside, and I'm out there for about 10 minutes. And here comes my dad and Tom coming back. My dad gets out of the car, and he goes, he got you, didn't he? And I went, what? And he goes, ha. And I said, yeah, he did. He says he gets everybody. So
I think we know where we need to go do part 2 of our movie. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was just saying. Let's totally film part 2 there.
I mean, it was, I was going to call down there. I got a friend of mine who was in the police department. He got me the phone number. And then he told me that it was 2 people in their 80s. I said, I'm not calling them and telling them there's ghosts and crap in their house. Let them rest in peace, So, but I did have a friend of mine, Mikey Thompson, and a girl that lives down there. Both go over and take pictures of the houses for me, of the house. And both of them said, yeah, there's a creepy feeling when you're there.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I wish I had an experience like that or something just to.
Hell yeah.
I'm just a proof type of guy. It's hard for me to believe anything unless it's happened to me. I was like, I just wish I could experience something like that so I could have a definitive in my mind. It's the what ifs that mess with.
No, I get
that. Here's something for you, Travis. Do you have a voice recorder? You have one on your phone. Got one on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Go home. Not yet. Wait till the show's over. And when it's quiet, look at the one where it's got the bar graph in it. And you can just watch the bar graph and ask questions, introduce yourself, and see if anything comes back and come back and listen. I had Kat Hobson here. She's the voice of Fate Magazine Radio. And we were talking on the phone. I said, man, I keep hearing voices in my apartment, right? So she says, record it. So I went in there, and she's on the phone. And I hit the thing, and I said, yeah, I'm here to see if there's anybody there. And this Italian-sounding voice goes, what's up?
Mm-hmm.
We both heard it. And the next time I went in and did it, I heard, attaboy. Look, well, thanks. I don't know what I did, but I'll take an attaboy.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to reach out to them.
Thank you.
Yeah, digital recorders are great.
Yeah.
That's cool, though.
What does that sound like? Movie crew ghost hunting, Trev?
Well, I got the camera and the gimbal and everything with the microphone set up right now. Let's go.
I have to tell you a story about a movie set.
Please.
Okay.
Hi, Joanne.
I asked the people if I could go ghost hunting there, and the guy goes, "Yeah, I just don't get in anybody's way." But it was a small. It wasn't like MGM or 20th Century Fox. It was a small place. So the one guy had been telling me, he says they see a lot of stuff on the second floor. So I asked if anybody wanted to go ghost hunting, and the makeup girl wanted to go. So we go upstairs, and the lights are out and stuff, and we're going along with the K2, and I had a night vision camera, and we're going down the hall, and we see big shadow at the end of the hall, and you can see, you know how you can see light underneath a door frame when the light's on in the other room? You could see the actual thing of like feet going across down there.
That's creepy.
This one group, a security guy and a guy who worked there, they came up and they said, "What are you doing?" I said, "We got permission to come up here." And the guy goes, "Oh yeah, I know." And the one guy, this black guy, he was real macho, and he goes, "Oh, you're looking for ghosts? I ain't afraid of no ghosts. What's that thing in your hand?" I said, "Well, it's a K2 meter, and if it lights up, that usually means there's new energy on it." And I said, "If there's new energy, we already walked through here. There wasn't anything here. Something else came to it." Right? And he goes, "I don't believe in any of that crap." Right? And being super macho and aggressive. Right? So anyway, I said, "Are you guys still here?" And it goes, all 5 lights, and all you hear on the recording or on the tape, them running down the stairs.
That's crazy.
This is actually kind of funny. So this is whose land we're shooting the movie on, Rick. It's just so you boys know, my land used to be a coal strip mine. Lots of dead folk out here or out there, rather.
There is.
So that should be interesting. Maybe we'll have to do a little fucking
Late night ghost hunting.
late night.
That'll be the last night.
Yeah, that'd have to be the last night.
Yeah, because the rest of the time we're busy.
Yeah, the rest of the time it's like 14, 16 hour shooting days.
Sure,
so,
Travis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would really like to hold on here, but I'm busy.
Yes.
But you know what? You have to open yourself up. You know, you have to invite them. I mean, if you're nice to them, they'll be nice to you. One thing I hate is when somebody starts, really trying to provoke them. I'll just tell them right off the bat. I said, "Hey, you don't do that here."
And that's when that's usually when you have problems. I know we used to have a guy on our team. He liked to provoke, and he was a skeptic, but he liked to provoke too. And he was always the one that would get pushed or scratched. Always.
Yeah. It's very counterproductive. I tell people, I asked one guy, he was being real tough. I said, "How would you like it if I came over to your house and started saying the things you're trying to say to the spirit?"
Yep.
And he goes, "I wouldn't like it." And I said, "You came to my house and talked like that, I'd throw you off my balcony." I said, "Let me explain this to you, Junior." I get kind of cranky, right? I said, "You're trying to converse with something that you can't see, you can't hear, unless it wants to let you know they're there."
Yep.
Hi, Pam.
Right? I said, you're gonna do everything you can to piss them off. That's stupidity.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And you got to treat them with respect. They used to be.
I think that's the biggest thing.
One time.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to be respectful.
Well, I think that's why Walter, comes to me when I go there and stuff like that. I got another story I want to tell you because it was it was really cool. We were at the I have to tell you, LAPD Museum is where they have all the evidence from all the really big cases.
Mm-hmm.
The Manson family murders, Marilyn Monroe, there's just dozens of the most high profile cases at this place. The North Hollywood shootout, which is amazing. There was this young girl, I would say she was about 14. Her and her dad had come along on the tour, and they were just spectating, and they didn't seem to be interacting with each other much either. And I was like, I got to do something about this, right? So the guy went around into the other room. I think he was trying to ghost hunt in a different room. And I went up to the little girl and I said, "Would you like to do what we're doing here, called the Estes method, because they were already doing it."
Doing that. That's great. I love it.
And she goes, "Yeah, can you make sure my dad watches?" I said, "Sure." So I sent her up there and I went around the corner and I got him, and he's standing there watching. And she had the most amazing session I've ever seen. I mean, everything was spot on and everything else. And I'm watching her. And then they said, There's a blonde girl. There's 2 men. They're killing her. And everybody goes, oh, that's Sharon Tate. And I said, no, it's not. It's not Sharon Tate. And they said, why? I said, Sharon Tate she was hung. And, I said, that's not how she got killed. I said, it's most likely Marilyn Monroe.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they said, oh. And then the girl started saying a few more things. She kind of spasmed a little bit. And I said, okay, we're done. Right.
Yeah.
So I went over and I got her and I took her down the stairs. There's little stairs, probably 8 steps, because it was on an alcove, like a landing right next to where all the evidence was. So I walked her back down there, and the father ran over and just grabbed her, and he says, I'm so proud of you. And they're just hugging it out. And I was like, yes.
That's so awesome.
Way to go, Rick.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And
so that's one of my coolest memories from that,
That is pretty cool.
And I got one more for you.
Yes, please. Oh, let it be in something embarrassing about Kane.
It's awesome. You really
No,
do.
you don't embarrass Kane.
No. I'm only kidding.
No, I was gonna say, he'll hunt you down. He'll get you back.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, but you know what happens? He usually does. Hey, Rick, I'm going to hunt somebody down. Let's go.
Oh, that's awesome. Then I'd hear the doorbell, and I'd be like, well, hey, Rick, and I'd be like, where's Kane? Because I know you're not here without him. Because I know you're not here for the filet mignon, bud. Yeah, ruh-roh.
Yeah, but you know what? If you said you had filet mignon and Kane was there, let's try it.
Okay, hell yeah. All right, cool. I'm
Offer
not
to
able to
feed
save
him,
myself
and you got him or RA. If you offer to feed him, they're like little.
Oh, I'll do that, man. All 3 of you are welcome. I'll feed the hell out of you guys. Stop it, man. Like, that'd be ridiculous. Are you kidding me? That would be the most ridiculous video I've ever done. Is sitting down with the Hollywood ghost hunters and feeding them.
All right, listen to this story.
Me.
Have you ever heard of the North Hollywood shootout?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super, super famous. These 2 guys went into the bank, which is only about 1.5 miles straight down the street from me.
Oh, sure.
And I was actually coming out of Gold's Gym. I was going to get something to eat at this one restaurant. And I was just 2 blocks away. And I could hear all the shooting. The cop cars are sliding around the corner like on, TV. And boom, 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 boom. Now, this is Hollywood, right? Figured they're shooting a movie.
Nope.
So I'm just standing there, and I went, oh, and I went home. And I was going to go to Vegas that day, so I went into the grocery store to get some snacks and stuff for the drive. And I said, yeah, they're shooting a movie up there. And they go, where? And I said, down by the bank. They said, that's not a movie. It's a robbery. Well, what happened is these 2 guys came with body armor. They had like metal plate underneath it. They had all these automatic weapons, right? And they went in and robbed the bank. Well, this one cop was going by, and he cornered them kind of, and they just started blasting the crap out of everybody. They started shooting across the street at other people, just trying
spraying.
to. Yeah, and finally the cops came over, and the one cop this guy came by, and he was just in his gym clothes. He was a member of SWAT, and they got the one truck going down, and this guy gets out. The 2 guys get out. The guy's shooting over the top of the thing, and the one SWAT guy lays down and shoots him in the feet and the legs from underneath.
Hell yeah.
The guy goes down and he gets shot because he's trying to and he dies. The other guy got shot. He killed himself at the same time they killed him. He put the gun up like this, and he got shot in the head, I think. Or
Oh my God.
but
It was like a crisscross. It was just like nothing but stump and ooze.
yeah.
Left.
But
Bam.
they figured out that they fired between 1,200 and 1,700 shots.
Well, it couldn't happen to nicer fellers.
Yeah. And nobody got killed. A couple people got hit, but nobody died except for those 2.
That's amazing, especially
But,
with the kind
but
of.
listen to this.
Yes.
They have at the LAPD museum, they have the 2 mannequins of the guys with the exact clothes on that they had been wearing, the same guns. I mean, this was all the authentic stuff, and it was behind glass. And everybody got creeped out going in there. I didn't. It was like, they're dead. I don't care.
They're fair.
Yeah,
You'll probably be friends with them in 5 minutes.
I know.
Rick, they're like, Rick, what's up,
I wasn't
dude?
worried. Walter was there.
Yeah, Walter was there. Yes, Walter's got your back.
Walter would come in with some.
Yes. And it
But-
comes full circle.
But we decided, I don't know if you guys have had Mikey Thompson on your show. He's actually an extraordinarily good ghost hunter. He's fantastic with a drone.
No,
Travis.
you're the only one that'll talk to us. So
No, Mikey would talk to you. But we came up with an idea. He says, why don't we run some news sounds, off a tape recorder to see if we can get some more action from the guys behind the glass. I said, I got a better idea. He goes, what? I said, let's do machine gun sounds.
Yeah.
Right. So he put that all tape and stuff. We're sitting there, and the girl's looking through the SLS camera, which makes for anybody out there who doesn't know, makes it look like skeletons. Mm-hmm. Well, all of a sudden we let it go off, and instantly these two things came right over the mannequins, right? And they're going crazy. And the one actually falls out. It looks like he gets knocked out of the glass and lands on the ground. It looks like the other guy's kicking him. Right? I mean, they were going to town. And then we found out later on that the one guy was having an affair with the other guy's wife.
Oh, shit.
Jesus. So I think he was.
Oh, he was taking like the beyond the grave, like, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's giving him a beat down. But I mean, we recorded all of it, but it was amazing.
And you fucked my wife. I mean, I'd be pissed too.
If you guys want to see something interesting, because I've never seen anybody say anything about it, but me, you can see the Hollywood Ghost House, North Hollywood shootout on the internet. And if you watch when they finally come out of the bank, they're shooting and stuff. One guy's outside the car, behind the car, and the other guy's driving, and this guy's shooting over the car. And then you see him lower the gun and shoot through the window.
Yeah.
Where the driver's on the other. I mean, it looks like he's shooting at the driver. And nobody's ever said anything about that. And right after that, they were both dead.
Damn.
It's crazy.
But yeah, that. I really miss going to North Hollywood Museum or the LAPD Museum, because it was really building up to the point where we could come in and the spirits recognized us, right? I mean, other than Walter, Margaret would say hi. I mean, it was really something. And then they decided that the girl that was running it, she got transferred and nobody else wanted to take it over.
So it kind of went the way of the buffalo.
But that place, really, every time you went, it got bigger and better. I mean, it was really something.
That's cool.
That's wild. And and again, man, like I said from the beginning, guys got stories for days. I can listen to you.
That's why I write books, Hefty.
Yeah, I know, but I'll have to learn how to read one of these days so I can check that out.
Oh,
and then
have AJ read it to you.
Yeah, are you kidding me? He stammers. It'll take him forever.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Just look at the pictures, Hefty.
Oh, look at there's pictures. All right, now we're talking.
We got
plus, me, I'd just be like, Rick, will you sign these? I'll send them to you, please. But yeah, like guys, what a great guy. And we're almost out of time here, but I wanted to, Rick, you're always welcome back anytime you want. You know that, brother.
Well, I have to go on this show because it's part of my parole.
Is that what it is? Oh, it's community service. That's fair. But thank you so much for your expertise, your time, your off-screen advice. You know what I'm talking about, like the green room stuff and like that, and just being a generally awesome human being. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah, you. Yeah, believe it or not, yeah, I'm talking to you.
There's somebody behind me for a second.
No, there might be. I don't know. Your place is kind of creepy.
In this place?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not without, that's not without warrant saying that.
By the way, this place is the only place I've ever run into a demon in my own apartment.
Rick and King.
Rick and King, come on down to Arkansas. Bring RA. I'll feed y'all. I'll pay for that.
Oh, you don't want to do that.
I mean, I'm saying that. No balls. You guys won't.
You've never seen those two guys eat.
Doesn't matter.
Bring out another cow.
I'm like, I'll take out a second mortgage. That's fine. Want to thank Travis, of course, and Mama Marty. I think you had next to Rick the most experience as far as the ghost hunting things and everything. And I love hearing. We got to have more stories from you at some point, Mama Marty.
Hi, Nick.
I know you got a lot. Nick, what's up, buddy? Yeah. And Nick, you lost a lot of weight, buddy. I seen that picture of you on the crutches, man. You look good, son. You look good, bro. Hopefully you're healing up. Pam, no problem. I want to, shout out everybody in the chat. Groovy, we're making a movie, baby.
We are making a movie. I'm excited. 77 days, baby. 77 days.
And if you want to buy Rick's stuff, go over on Amazon. You want to pimp the name of your book real quick so we can get that money going to St. Jude's and do a good
It is
cause?
actually Ghosts Believe in Me. And the second one is The Spirits Are Out There and They're Waiting for You.
Nice.
Now, I got to tell you real quick, Ghosts
Yes.
Believe in Me sounds very arrogant, but that's not what happened. I was on a show like this, and the guy says, you really believe in ghosts? It was going to be 2 hours, right? First question he asked me, he goes, do you really believe in ghosts? And I thought, what a jerk this guy is. And I went, no. And you can just see the look on his face like,
I'm just here to grift, guys. Just here to grift.
yeah. So, but then he goes like this. He goes, you really don't? I said, I don't have to. Ghosts believe in me.
I was just
Yes.
going to say the same
And
thing.
people kept writing it. They said, oh, what a great comeback. So
And again, with the with the stories you've told and the contents of your books, like, yeah, I think that is a very apt description of your relationship with the paranormal world.
somebody just says different group. Okay.
What is that? Where are we
I'm
that
still
from?
here. There we are.
Oh, there we go. I was like, wait, where's that show music coming from? I'm like, that is not on
I thought
our
he was
end.
about to break out to a diatribe.
Yeah.
He's like, and in the world in Ireland in 1932.
Hey, Hefty.
Yes, sir.
If these other people want to talk to me about their ghost hunting or their movie things, they got any questions, just give them my phone number.
Really? Okay.
Fair enough.
All right. I mean, pretty much everybody on screen
That
now will
includes
have your phone
JJ.
number.
Oh, nice.
Are you
Thank
sure?
you.
I love that he's like that. Yeah,
I
the
get so
Mexican, I
excited.
guess, can have my phone number, I suppose. That's very
Oh,
sweet.
really?
of
Then
you.
I have to say, mira, esa típica, por favor.
I speak.
Oh, why you gotta tell him like that? I'm not that good of a Mexican.
Yeah, he
I don't
doesn't.
know
I speak
Spanish.
better Spanish than he does.
It's like Nacho Belgrande.
But
yo.
yes, that is very kind
You
of
don't
you,
need
Rick.
anything more than that.
I will
Not
absolutely
to go down.
divulge that information to everybody. Anybody that wants it, that texts me for $50.
Fair enough.
And that's outside of the script. But thank you, Rick. That's very kind. I will pass the information along for sure. But I want to thank everybody in the chat for watching. Again, Rick, thank you so much for coming on again. Can't wait to have you on again.
It's great
Can't wait
seeing
to
you,
talk
Rick.
to you. Mama
Great
Marty,
time.
Travis, I love you guys so much. And everybody out there, go out there and do good things because nobody else is going to. If everybody did one good thing for somebody else each day, this world wouldn't be such a shitty place.
You're right.
I love you guys very much for watching. We'll catch you next time on HefTV.
All right.